Hello, 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 hello. How are you guys doing out there in YouTuber land? This is Bobby from Homespun Home. And I have an opportunity to do a video, so I thought, let me take advantage and utilize the fact that, first of all, none of the grandkids are around, even though I'm at my daughter's house. The grandkids have been sick this week, off and on. Started with Nevaeh, really bad, congestion and just like a really bad cold. And she ended up going to the emergency room. And then I got sick with the cold, still dealing with it, but not as bad. Hopefully, at the tail end of things, hopefully. But feeling pretty raunchy, feeling lethargic, feeling achy, stuffy nose, raspy voice, not strep throat or anything crazy like that, just feeling really bad. Dealing with just a whole bunch of stuff, which we all do, this is going to be a tough year financially for me and Dave as far as Christmas, but it's all good. I mean, as long as my kids are alive and well, and my dog is alive and well, and everybody's healthy, hey, I can't complain. But I think I'm going to get a little bit ugly tonight. I normally don't show my ugly side, but I can get an attitude at times. I really, really can, especially if I feel like I'm scuttled along in life. Is that a word? Scuttled along, pushed, shoved, disregarded, overlooked, whatever, with, situations. But today was a busy day because Jordan was sick and he had what Nevaeh had. And I figured it was coming to him because, I thought, oh, great, he's managed to escape. But he did not escape. He ended up spiking a fever yesterday. So I watched him yesterday and then I had him today. Well, today was busy because I had to, when I stay with my daughter, what I usually end up doing is spending the night. For one, I love to eat dinner over here because my son-in-law is an excellent cook. He's half Hispanic and he's full-blooded Hispanic. He's not half Hispanic. He is full Hispanic. He's not a half-bleed, as one of my grandkids said one day. But he's an excellent cook, and I love to eat the food that he cooks. And also, I enjoy, being with grandkids and cuddling. And I usually end up sleeping with Nevaeh in her bed, which was the bed that belonged to my daughter when she was little. It's one of those old antique wrought iron beds. It's a double size, so we sleep usually together. But anywho, she had a ukulele performance at school tonight, and she had a dentist appointment. So when I got up this morning with Jordan, like I said, who was still sick, we went to my house. I checked on the dog, checked on the mail, took the dog outside to go pee, cleaned up some mess in the kitchen from my husband cooking dinner the night before, just doing a few little things here and there. And then came back and had Jordan put on some warmer clothes. And we left again and we went to the Dollar Tree to find some boxes, some empty boxes, cardboard boxes in the back of the store. And I found a couple boxes, and then we went in the store and we got some wrapping paper, 3 tubes of wrapping paper, and a couple other little items. And then we left and we went and picked up his sister. We drove all the way to Beaufort from Moorhead so that she could get her dental appointment taken care of and get seen. We sat there for that, and then we left there. We went to the Salvation Army. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to delete that word because I didn't want to disclose the name of the thrift store. So here's the thing. I used to work for this particular thrift store back in the day, and I have retail experience, and I also have worked for other thrift stores, the Battered Women thrift store in Wilmington. There's a thrift store here called Second Blessing. I volunteered there. I mean, I've got retail experience. I've worked for Dollar General, Family Dollar, just retail in general, outside of working at the hospital and outside of doing the daycare. So I'm familiar with how thrift stores are run, and I also patronize, as y'all know, thrift stores. Well, I've been trying for months now, okay, to get into this particular thrift store, to work as what they call, they used to call it a pricer sorter. Now they say working in the warehouse. I don't care what they call it. You basically go through the donations and you price things, and stuff that's trash you throw away, and you basically get things situated so that it can get out on the floor so people can buy the stuff so they can make some money. Well, as a general not as a general rule, but basically this particular thrift store has always been housed in kind of so-so buildings. They've never really had anything fancy where I live. Now, I'll go to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I'll go to the same thrift store in Tulsa, and it's like a freaking department store. I mean, like a huge department store. It's amazing. Well, they finally built something substantial in my area, and I have been trying since last year to become employed again with this particular thrift store company, whatever you want to call it. And I filled out an application. I went all the way out of town to another county to get my Social Security card. Even though I knew my Social Security, I had to get a live copy and blah, blah, blah. In other words, I've really gone through a lot of trouble to try to get everything in order to with the hopes of getting hired by this particular thrift store franchise. And I've not had any luck with it whatsoever. And one of the men that are on the board of directors is a very good friend of ours and very well-to-do gentleman. And matter of fact, the main store is actually named after his wife, who recently passed away, which cost him a lot of money to have that privilege of naming that store after his wife. So he's on the board of directors, and he's kind of, put in, allowed himself to be used as a reference, and he's very supportive of the fact that I want to work there, and this, that, and the other. Well, I'm just getting to the point where I'm so frustrated because I'm like, I keep going back and I keep asking them, are you guys hiring? No. Well, can I volunteer? I figured if I could volunteer, I could at least get my foot in the door, and maybe something would open up and then they would hire me, even if it's part-time. I really just don't care. I just want to get hired. So I've shown my face, and ended up, they asked me to fill out a second application. I did that. I mean, they said, well, we probably lost your first application, blah, blah, whatever. So I've continually bounced back and forth trying to get my foot in the door with this particular thrift store, with little to no success. So today, after doing all this crazy running around and everything, and I'm still, like I said, I'm not 100% better. I mean, I still have this cold, although it's not as bad as it has been, and doing all this running around, and my grandson has a way of getting under my skin, and he was just getting under my skin today big time. But so I said to the kids, look, we're going to go to this thrift store, and we're going to do a little bit of shopping. Nanny doesn't have a lot of money. I had about $25, I think, in my pocket, and I said, we'll just get a few little things, if we see anything. And I did find some nice things. I found my granddaughter a beautiful jacket, a very beautiful white down-filled looking jacket, sports jacket to wear to school, and a couple items for two of my dolls, and I got my grandson a couple things, and I got some books and whatever. But anyway, when I get there, I told, there's a young man that works there that I know I've known him since he was a baby. And I told him, I said, could you go back and let the floor manager know that I need to talk to her? So he lets her know, okay, that there's someone out there in the store on the floor that needs to speak with her. So I kind of stood around the back door area there for a little while, because I was thinking if I walk away, she doesn't know who I am. She's not going to know, to find me. So I kind of stuck around, and finally he came out again after 20 minutes, and I'm like, hey, is she going to come out and talk to me? And he was like, well, both times he told me, well, she's on the phone, she's talking to somebody, but she said when she gets off the phone, she'll be out, whatever. So I kept waiting. So finally I says, okay, I'm going to just start looking around. So I started looking around the store and everything, and picked up a couple nice items and put them in my cart and whatever. And I'm looking and I'm like, oh my God, and she never came out. I kept waiting, kept shopping around. The grandkids started getting a little yancy. So I gave them their own money, told them to go up to the store or to the register and, pay for their stuff, blah-de-blah-de-blah. And I went up there and I paid for my stuff, and I mean, like a good 45, almost an hour went by that I was in that store, and I didn't buy hardly, but I think 4 or 5 items. No way did I stay in that store because I wanted to shop that long. I stayed in the store because I wanted to talk to this lady about my potential to get hired. Well, the young boy that I've been knowing since he was a baby that is working there came out again and had a basket full of merchandise that he was putting out, and I'm like, hey, where's the store manager lady? What happened? I'm waiting to talk to her. Oh, I heard a couple other people that were working the store, they perked their heads up and they were like, oh, she left. And I'm like, she left? And they were like, yeah, she left. And I said, are you kidding me? I said, I came in here almost 40 minutes ago and said I needed to talk to her. And I was told that she was on the telephone and that when she was through talking, she would come out. And I actually asked about it a couple times after like 20-30 minutes, and I was assuming she's still on the phone, and for all I know, maybe she's got some important business on the phone, and I'm not going to get rude and try to interrupt her conversation. She could have been doing an interview on the phone. I didn't know what she was doing, so I kept waiting, and they were like, she left. And I looked at the boy, his name is Matthew, and I was like, Matthew, are you kidding me? I said, didn't she know? She knew, supposedly. I mean, didn't she know that I was out here waiting to talk to her? I mean, and she left? I said, I think that's kind of rude, don't you? I said, the least the lady could have done was come out and said, hey, I appreciate you coming in, but I can't talk to you right now because I got to go somewhere. Come back, or, I'm sorry, we don't have any openings right now, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I was getting kind of liquid, as my husband says. I was really put out because I said, this is really stinking rude to do that. I mean, I'm sitting there, just wandering around the store trying to kill time waiting on this lady who was determined that she wasn't even going to come out. And she could have even sent somebody out to say, she's unavailable, I'm sorry you had to wait, but she can't talk to you. I mean, nothing was said. I mean, for all she knows, I could have hung around there until they closed the store. And I thought, and this is a manager person. This is a person who is running the store, who's in charge of hiring and firing and being, on top of the program in this particular thrift store. And they've lost my application supposedly, so I fill out another one, and then they're going to call me, and they don't call me, and then I go in the store and personally talk to people, and they told me, and also the last time I went in there, they were like, well, we have 4 openings, but we'll get back with you on that, we'll call you, we'll let you know. They had 4 openings in that particular thrift store, and then all of a sudden the following week they don't have any openings. And so Matthew said to me, and he's young, and I understand he was he's nervous, and he says, well, I didn't want to make you mad, and I didn't want to hurt your feelings and tell you, I'm not supposed to tell you, but she said that they didn't have any openings. We don't have any openings right now. But I really wasn't supposed to tell you, and I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to hurt your feelings. Well, that wouldn't hurt my feelings near as much as the fact that she didn't even bother to come out and tell me that she had to leave, or that she couldn't send somebody out to tell me that they had to leave, or she had to leave. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my ever freaking mind here. I don't know. I was just tired. I'd been running around all day, and I just thought it was rude, especially for someone who's in a leadership position and a management position, that they would do that. So I, in the meantime, decided, okay, I got 10 more minutes. In the meantime, I had sent the kids out to the car. I said, just go sit. Nanny will be there. Just go unlock the door. I'll be there. And I managed to find a couple more items. Well, much to my delight and distress, there is a huge line of like 8 people standing in line. And they had one register open. And come to find out, one of the ladies working on the floor with Matthew was the assistant manager. So this girl's got 8 people standing in line, 2 of which has a cane. So they're challenged. They're not able to walk right because they have to use a cane. So the one lady sits down and, closest to where the register is by the shoes. And then the other older lady went to the other end of the shoes and sat down there. And you would have never known she was there, but I happened to recognize that these 2 old ladies needed to pay for their merchandise, but there's 8 people ahead of them. So they're just sitting there because they're feeble and they can't stand for very long. So the one lady looks at me and says, I'm right after you, ma'am, because in the meantime 2 or 3 other people come behind me. And I said, don't you worry about it, lady. I said, I got your back, honey. I says, matter of fact, I says, when the time comes, you come on up. I'll take care of you. You just sit right there and you just wait. And she was so worried, I guess, because she was sitting, that someone was going to cut in front of her or whatever. Well, she didn't know when it came time for me to come up there, finally, after 20 minutes of standing in line, and the freaking assistant manager is working on the floor. Like, she doesn't see that there's like a million people standing in line with this one girl who's at the register. And honestly, the one girl's nice, but she wasn't very efficient. I mean, she has to gab and chat and carry on with each customer, which makes the process even longer. And I mean, I believe in being friendly and I believe in being nice, but come on, get her done, get the people through the line, get that money, and hurry up and get them through the line. And when they're gone, then you can go on and work on the floor and start hanging, clothes and putting merchandise out or whatever you want to do. Let's get these people situated with their money, because the money is where the action is. This is what's going to keep the doors of this facility open. And I was told, because my husband has a friend, like I said, who's on the board of directors, who has the inside scoop, and he was telling my husband how many thousands of dollars they have to earn in a week to keep those doors open. So I know a little more about what's happening than even the employees there, unless they're in a management position. So I'm sitting there, but I'm getting frustrated and getting angry because these 2 elderly ladies who were at different locations of the line have nowhere to sit to take the load off their feet, and they're walking with canes, and they're having to stand there for 30 minutes. Finally, I said out loud, I looked behind me to the lady and I said, they really need another register open over here so they can get these people checked out. I said, one of the managers or somebody, or no, I know what I said. I said, they need to get somebody up front here to help this lady bag up this merchandise. She can ring the customer and let the other lady bag it so they can get them in and get them out. And I said it loud enough where I know they could hear. And then I said it again. I said, they really need some help up here. I said, they need to send somebody up front to help this cashier bag this merchandise. And I said, but they really need somebody to open up the other register. Go ahead and get, everybody rung up here, because, so I made it a point to say it loud enough where they heard me. I wanted them to hear me, because I was pissed off about the fact that lady left and didn't bother to tell me she was leaving. Okay, so I'm sorry, y'all. You can tell I'm not myself here. I'm letting it all hang out. And I'm a nice person. I really, really am. But I can get a little testy sometimes. And I was getting real testy. I was aggravated about not, the fact that I am constantly going back there and they just don't want to hire me for whatever reason. And I wish if they had some reason or whatever, they would just come out and tell me, we're not interested in hiring you. But maybe there's something there that they're not telling me. and they can't tell me, but they don't want to hire me, so I don't know. So I was mad about that, and then I'm mad about these precious ladies sitting over here with canes that can't even hardly walk, okay? And they're having to wait. So I also made the comment relatively loud, y'all need some more chairs up here for people that are elderly and challenged, so they can have a place to sit, when they're waiting, for whatever reason. And finally the assistant manager went over there and opened up her register. So when it was my turn, I looked at the first lady that said she was behind me, and I said, honey, you go ahead of me. I said, you have been waiting a very long time. I said, come on, baby, get your cane and come on up. I said, you go ahead of me, okay? I said, Merry Christmas. And I made sure that girl heard me, okay? And then when it was my turn again, I says, ma'am, and she was sitting way down at the end with her cane, and I said, come on up here, honey. I said, are you ready to check out, sweetheart? She says, yes, I am. And I said, well, come on, baby. I said, you come on up and you get in line ahead of me because you've been waiting a very, very long time. Yeah. And so she hobbled her way up, and both of those two, those old ladies, each one looked at me, and they were being all sweet, and they were like, oh, thank you, honey. Merry Christmas to you, baby. You're so sweet. I said, don't even thank me. I said, because I got an attitude right now. I got a bad attitude right now. I said, don't thank me, darling. I says, you just go when you have a Merry Christmas. I said, don't you thank me. My pleasure. My honor. I appreciate being able to help you out, honey. You just go on. And then I looked at the lady, and she said something, and I said, I just have a bad attitude right now. And she goes, oh, you do? And I said, yeah. I says, those two old ladies that could barely, breathe, let alone walk across, with their little canes to pay for their little doodads that they had to have. Each of them had like one or two little items in their hand. I just felt so bad. And I know that little assistant manager girl heard everything, and I wanted her to hear everything because I don't know what this world is coming to, I'm gonna tell you. So I was fit to be tied, and I says, I can't wait to get home because I haven't done a video, and I haven't really gotten ugly with my videos, not really, but I was really put out today about that. I was really put out. I just couldn't believe. And it was almost like that girl, I guess she was hoping people would just go away. Like the assistant manager was like, they'll just go away. But the cashier was so slow. And I wasn't trying to be critical, but I was like, I said, I've done retail for years. And I said, when you've got 8 or 9 people standing in a line, you as a manager person, assistant or manager, you're supposed to go over there and help that cashier. Either you help bring out customers or you help bag up the merchandise. Do something to start that line moving so those people can get that mess paid for and get that money in that register and get them out the door so they can have, get a new set of customers in there. If you sit there and lollygag, people don't want to have to stand there like that. And one elderly lady, somebody said, well, they're normally not this busy like this. I said, yeah, but this is right before Christmas, and they know it's going to be busy. And it doesn't matter if they're normally not busy. They may not normally be that busy, but when the time comes that they are busy, when the time comes that they do have 10 people standing in line, someone needs to step up to the plate and help carry the load to expedite these purchases so these customers can get that money in that register and get out the store. Get out of the store instead of lollygagging. And that is not the time to have a coffee and tea at the counter at the register with every single customer that comes through. Be nice, be polite, but get them in and get them out. Get them in and get them out. Thank them. Merry Christmas. God bless. Whatever you want to say, But I'm just sitting there thinking, and they don't want to hire me. They don't want to hire me. When I know I could run circles around that store. I know I could get that merchandise out. You ain't got time to play. And when the manager person runs off and leaves the store, the people in the back are left unattended, so it's time for them to play around and talk and chat and laugh instead of getting that merchandise out. You don't have to be a slave driver and make life miserable, but it's a store that is required to make a certain amount of money to meet to meet that level of monetary commitment to keep the doors of that facility open, because it's a brand new building and it costs a lot of money and a lot to keep it heated, a lot to keep the lights on, a lot to pay the employees, so they need to hustle instead of messing around. I'm not saying that they need to run around like little mice with their tails cut off, but it's just poor management. I mean, when I worked at Family Dollar and Dollar General, if we had a line of people, and I worked at Dollar Tree also, if there's a line of people, there's more than 5 or 6, let's just say 6 people, okay, or more, depending. You got to kind of pay attention as a manager and watch your girl at the register. See if she needs help sometimes. Just eyeball it. If she doesn't need help, she's got it, then move on. But today, there were so many people in line in front of me and behind me. The manager should have already stepped up a long time ago and helped her. But instead, she waited and waited until it got to be almost a catastrophe. And I was really pissed off. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but I was really pissed off, because I'm just like, oh my God, there's just no excuse for this. And generally speaking, I am a nice person, but sometimes I just think to myself, I don't care if I'm 63 years old and you're 22. You do not have all the answers. I've got life experience. What have you got? They think they know everything too when they're young. They just think, and I'm thinking they don't deserve to be in a managerial position if they can't learn to run a store, if they can't learn what it takes to keep things popping. And I know some people that are in their 20s have a great knack for retail, but sometimes they just need somebody in there that knows what's going on. And I could tell today, man, I'm like, I don't know what they think they're doing today, but it is not happening today. And to be honest, the 90% of the people that were in that store were in that line. There were maybe 3 people on the floor shopping. Okay, so you prioritize. And so so they don't want to hire me. So I mean, they haven't come out and said that, but there's got to be some reason why they don't want me back there, unless I just don't have I don't know what it takes. I mean, I used to work for this particular thrift store, no problem, years ago when I was a lot younger. Didn't even have near the experience I have now, and for some reason they just don't seem interested in hiring me. And I've tried, so I'm just about ready. But I'm gonna tell you what, now, if I walk in there and I got $100 and I spend $100, they're gonna take my money now. They're gonna take my money. They'll take my money. Oh, yes, they will. But they're not gonna even have enough courtesy to have some chairs up front for the elderly and the handicapped people that maybe have a little bit of limitation with mobility, and a place for them to sit, to wait. Maybe a husband has a mobility issue and he's waiting on his sweet little wife to finish her shopping. There's no place for him to sit but in the car. That's ridiculous. Really. I mean, think about it. Cater to the community. If you're a community endeavor, and you offer this for the community, then do something for the community, then do it right. Offer some chairs where these elderly and frail and weak and mobilely challenged individuals can sit while they wait. If they even have to wait in line, at least give them a place to sit. It's ridiculous. But boy, they'll take your money in a heartbeat. But yet they won't give you the opportunity, if you want. I even offered to volunteer and to work for free, and they still didn't. They said, well, they only did volunteers through this specific program through the community. I guess it's some ladies' home economical community club, and they utilize volunteers from this specific, club. They don't take volunteers. Even though I have a clean criminal background record, I've had a clean record for over 10 years. I've worked for daycare for every 3 years. I've had to have my, criminal background checked. And I qualify, to work as a child care provider in the state of North Carolina. I'm certified through the state of North Carolina. I have my criminal, I have my CPR, first aid, SIDS, over 100 contact hours in childcare. I have real estate, not real estate, but retail experience. I have, daycare experience. I've worked as a unit coordinator in the hospital and the ER for over 5 years. I did 12 and 16-hour shifts. I mean, come on, people. I know you can't afford to pay me, a bundle of money, but come on. I just don't get it. I don't get it. So I guess what I got to do is just wait and wait and wait until there's a big turnover, another big turnover, and just keep my eyes open and hope and pray that I can get in there one day, I don't want a job that's going to give me a headache. I don't want a job that's going to stress me to the max. That is another reason I wanted to work in the back in the warehouse, just pricing merchandise and getting it out on the floor. That's an easy job. It's not hard, but you can be very, proficient and you can be very good at getting merchandise out. And if you're working back there, you can motivate others to come on, let's go, let's get this stuff out. The more we get out, the more sales we can make. But they just don't seem to want someone like me, and I just don't get it. And then, like I said, they added insult to injury when they had us stand in that line. Oh, but anyway, I'm going to go because I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll, and I'm sorry. And it's right before Christmas, and I'm trying so hard not to let this gripe me. But my YouTube channel is for, and I got some good things coming up that I want to share with y'all. I know I've made some promises. I've tried to follow through with those promises. Today I picked up what I call roadkill, and I'm going to share that with y'all. I've got some projects I'm working on at the house. I've got I'm working on a bulletin board, or it's like a chalkboard actually, for my daughter, that I'm utilizing the materials from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to show you everything that I use to make it, and it's not going to cost me maybe $5 at most and my time, to make. I want to surprise my daughter. She needs a chalkboard. I think she said she needed it for work, but she might need it for the house, but it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to go ahead and have it ready for her, and I'm going to share that. And I also had made a hold on. I had also made a, I didn't make, but I had found a roadkill of, it was one of those, one of those microwave rolly things that you use in your kitchen, where you put the microwave on the top, and it's got an area underneath for whatever, and then there's little doors that open, little doors, and then there's shelves, and you can put cookbooks or pots and pans or whatever you want in there, little things like that. Maybe in the middle section you could put your cookbooks, and then you got your microwave. But I found that in the trash, and it was a nasty piece of work. It was nasty. But I scrubbed it, and I bleached it, and I painted it, and I put it in my craft area. And I had promised that I was going to show y'all the what it looked like prior and then the finished product. And so I need to do that. I just got a lot of stuff I want to get done. I've had to switch doctors again because my old doctor left, and I got a new doctor, and I think with this new doctor things are going to look a lot better for me. As far as you can tell, even now my attitude may not be good right now, but I have a little more get up and go, so to speak. My medicine that the new doctor has prescribed seems to be helping better than what I was taking before. I won't go into detail about all that, but I just have a lot that I want to share. And what I feel quite often is mundane stuff around my house and around my life is really not mundane. It's I think people would be genuinely interested in some of the things that I do, because I think some things that I do are unique and creative, but then there's other things that I do that maybe someone else has already done it, but this is my version of it. So between my crafts, and messing with my dog and my bird and my house and my thrift store purchases and different things like that, just my life experiences that I've been having. A lot of this YouTube is geared for my family, so when I'm gone one day, they can sit down and look back and watch all my crazy videos. But I had to vent. I just had to vent because I couldn't deal with the rudeness, between the fact that the lady just walked out of the store without telling me she was leaving, and then these two elderly ladies and all these customers standing in line for 20 hours. I mean, what happened to customer service? Whatever happened to being polite? Whatever happened to people being gracious? And just taking a moment to just be nice. Seriously, I just, ugh. But anyway, I love you guys so much, and I'm sorry for this video, but I'm not sorry, because if you really care and you're really truly my friend, I need a place that I can just be myself, and I need friends that I can be myself and be transparent. And so today was just one of those crazy days that I just literally had to have some I just had to vent. I had to have my peoples, on YouTube to be willing to listen to my gripe, because it just really got under my craw. And I'm not the most eloquent speaker in the world, and I'm not the best storyteller in the world, but I don't know. I felt like I was very angry. I really felt like making a big complaint and being one of those, older naggy ladies, that you deal with in life. But I made it clear, because I was kind of passive aggressive, but I made my voice loud enough where they could hear that I was not impressed, as they say in Australia. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. So it is what it is. But Christmas is coming, and I'm looking forward to being with my family. I'm looking forward to stuffing my face with good food. I'm not expecting any Christmas presents. That's fine. Like I said, to me, all that matters is that you guys out there are happy and healthy, and my family, and my dog, and my bird, and anyone else that makes up my circle of life, that everyone is happy and healthy. That's all that matters, guys. I love you. Come back and see me soon, okay? I'm going to try to be good about putting out more videos, and I'll fill you in on more stuff that's been happening to me. I had to have surgery on my face, believe it or not. You can't tell, can you? I had a cancerous spot on my face. Actually, I still have to go back in January. I'll throw that in. Just all the time something going on in my life. I tell you, it just never ends. But anyway, God bless. Love you much, guys. Have a good one, okay? Mwah.